If Yellowstone erupted tomorrow, the lava would never reach you. Neither would the blast, unless you were standing in Wyoming. The supervolcano under the park kills by weather and by wheat, and most of the people it kills never hear it go off. So, what happens to the planet if that caldera erupted tomorrow morning? Start with the size of the hole. The Yellowstone caldera measures roughly 45 miles by 30 miles. You can drive across it without noticing you're inside a volcano. It formed 631,000 years ago, when the Lava Creek eruption threw out about 1,000 cubic kilometers of rock and ash. Mount St. Helens produced around 1 cubic kilometer in 1980. Picture that eruption 1,000 times over. Run it again tomorrow, and the first hours belong to pyroclastic flows, avalanches of gas and shattered rock at hundreds of degrees Celsius, moving faster than you can drive. They scour the ground for tens of kilometers around, and that radius holds the only mercy in this story, because hardly anyone lives inside it. The column is what travels. Ash climbs into the stratosphere, catches the winds, and falls across a continent. A 2014 USGS model of a month-long Yellowstone supereruption piles more than a meter of ash near the caldera, lays centimeters over the Great Plains and the Midwest, and dusts both coasts with about a millimeter. Don't picture snow. Volcanic ash is pulverized rock and glass. It doesn't melt, it doesn't dissolve, and it doesn't blow away. Wet it, and it sets like gray cement, heavy enough that 10 centimeters can bring down a weak roof. It shorts out power lines, clogs water treatment plants, and grinds engines into scrap. Aviation stops first. In 1982, a British Airways 747 flew into an ash cloud over Indonesia and lost all 4 engines, gliding for roughly 16 minutes before the crew got them running again. In 2010, Iceland's Eyjafjallajökull, thousands of times smaller than a supereruption, closed European airspace for 8 days and cancelled about 100,000 flights. Then the ash reaches the farms. A few centimeters across Nebraska, Kansas, and Iowa, flattens the standing crop and poisons the grazing, and a continent's grain belt goes down in one season. Here's the twist. The eruption you're imagining is not the one Yellowstone would hand you. Seismic imaging finds no underground lake of molten rock, only mush, a hot crystal sponge holding somewhere between 5 and 15% liquid. Rhyolite has to reach something near half melt before it can move, so the reservoir under the park tonight can't erupt at all. Yellowstone isn't overdue either. 3 caldera eruptions give you 2 gaps, not a schedule, and the USGS puts the annual odds of the next one near 1 in 730,000. More than 80 eruptions have broken out since that caldera collapsed, and lava flows account for nearly every one. Run the supereruption anyway, and the weapon is sulfur, not ash. Sulfur dioxide injected into the stratosphere becomes a haze of sulfate droplets that reflects sunlight for years. Tambora did it in 1815, with about 1/7 of Lava Creek's volume, cooling the planet by roughly half a degree Celsius. 1816 became the year without a summer, with June snow in New England and failed harvests across Europe. Models put a Yellowstone-scale eruption at several degrees of cooling, held for years. Every growing season on Earth shortens at once, and the country buried in ash is the one that would have shipped the food. 2 corrections before you panic. This wouldn't end us. Toba erupted 74,000 years ago at nearly 3 times Lava Creek's size, and the old story that it almost wiped out humanity has fallen apart, since lake sediments and African dig sites show people living straight through it. And Yellowstone wouldn't ambush anyone. The earthquake swarms and ground swelling would run for months, where every seismometer could see them. So, here's the question for the comments. Monitoring buys warning, never a harvest. Given 10 years of notice, what should the world do with the decade? Harden the farms or fill the warehouses? And Yellowstone is 1 event out of 1,000. What happens if every volcano on Earth erupted on the same day is waiting on your screen right now.